Hello, welcome to another book review. I'm your host, Kristen, and today I will be reviewing the YA fantasy book, House of Night, Burned, by PC and Kristen Cast. In case you are interested in reading this book afterward, content warnings in this book are blood, violence, ableism, racism, exotification, slurs, sexism, transphobia, murder, sexual assault, abuse, sex shaming, and homophobia. For this review, I will start with the overall plot, then world building, and finally the characters. There will also be spoilers in this review. Also, there will be a brief mention of partner abuse, so if you want to avoid it, please skip to this time. Let's begin. Once Zoe's soul has shattered, she is cast into a part of the afterlife called the Other World, where she is unable to put herself back together. There, she reunites with Heath and must decide whether to join her soul back together or fade away while Stark tries to rescue her. Meanwhile, Stevie Ray grapples with her imprint on Requiem and her current relationship with Dallas. One of her biggest concerns, however, is what to do about the rogue red fledglings still hiding in the tunnels, led by Nicole. After learning of Zoe's fate, Neferet commands Kelowna to go into the Other World to finish Zoe off, despite having a main plot and two smaller subplots. Say it with me, folks, nothing happens. Zoe spends most of her time in the afterlife, moping around, and debating whether or not she should leave. The rest of the group merely goofs off, despite only having a week to bring Zoe back. Stark's only interesting part was when he had to enter Nyx's grove, but I'll get into that more regarding his character. For Stevie Ray's plot, it is taken up entirely with boy issues, besides her accidentally summoning the wrong bowl and having to pay a blood price. That would be interesting, but the plot only stays on it for a chapter. Despite not having much of a plot, there is more world building here than the last books. According to vampire myth, the world is in constant struggle between light and darkness, which take form as two bulls. If Zoe, a character of light, doesn't come back, darkness will win. While trying to save Zoe, Stark, Aphrodite, and Darius must visit the Isle of Skye, which is home to a vampire queen and her vampire guardians. There, Stark must be rendered close to death in order to travel into the Other World. A vampire also mentions that the Other World has a strong grasp on Zoe's soul, even stronger than the newly dead, which is very confusing. Normally, all these concepts would be great. Unfortunately, they are never really explored that deeply. The fight between light and darkness is simply reduced to stupid guy stuff, and the reader only spends a chapter or two getting into the Isle of Skye. In this book, Zoe was pretty weak. It was understandable that she was grieving Heath's death. However, she also knew that she had to get back to the living world, or else Neferet would win, and everyone she would love would die. Unfortunately, Zoe just chose to run deeper and deeper into Nyx's grove, instead of facing her responsibilities. Instead of being sympathetic, Zoe came across as whiny and childish. Furthermore, when it comes to collecting pieces of her soul, Zoe just asks them to come back together. That's it. There's no challenge, no flaw she has to overcome, no character growth. She just snaps her fingers, and all of her souls reassimilate. There is one part where she saves Stark, but it's brief, and Nyx herself must intervene for Zoe's want to be truly fulfilled. Besides summoning the wrong bowl, Stevie Ray's plot still mostly revolves around her love life and boy drama. When she is almost killed by the bowl, simply because Aphrodite forgot to mention what color it is, Requiem has to intervene. The scene was way too short, and there's hardly any enough description. Besides that, Stevie Ray's biggest concerns in the book are hiding Requiem and continue to make out with her boyfriend, Dallas. When Dallas gets angry about being lied to and accuses Stevie Ray of cheating on him with Requiem, Stevie Ray slaps Dallas. Although Dallas didn't have the best wording, Stevie Ray escalated to full-on abuse. Worse, the plot sides with Stevie Ray as Dallas shocks Requiem with electricity. Though Dallas was in the wrong for trying to hurt Requiem, everyone in the scene was just plain awful. For this book, Stark was still rather horrible. While on the Isle of Skye, he declared himself an official guardian for watching over Zoe, despite having no training and only distant blood ties to the culture. Stark also was very demeaning towards people who didn't want to risk their lives for him, even if said people were complete strangers. When it came to getting in Nyx's grove, Stark had to fight an evil version of himself, which was more silly than interesting, given the ham-fisted dialogue. Despite all his crimes during the last few books, apparently Stark's biggest flaw was him being arrogant. The authors could have gone so much deeper, but decided not to. Instead, he gets kicked around before the Guardian keeping him on the brink of death gives Stark another superpower. Eventually, Stark decides to fight Kelowna, who proceeds to kick Stark's ass. Honestly, although the fight was rather lame, it was funny to see Stark get knocked around, considering how much I hate his character. On to Requiem. Where do I start? Well, I still don't like him, considering he has a history of sexual assault and murder. Secondly, he also constantly waffles between choosing Stevie Ray and Kelowna for the entire book. When Requiem finally decides to follow his heart, it is because he has become possessive and overbearing. He goes back to Tusula because he can't even stand the thought of Stevie Ray being in a happy relationship with Dallas, despite Requiem never having an official romantic relationship with Stevie Ray herself. For villains, Nefret and Kelowna don't do much in this book. Nefret only briefly appears in the start, and Kelowna doesn't show up to actually antagonize the group until the very end. For a supposed power couple, they aren't very threatening. Overall, I give this book 1 star. What should have been an exciting premise, leading to tons of character growth for Zoe, fell completely flat. I hope the next book is okay.